Kakarot in the Room of Time has been able to access Super Saiyan, but even though his power multiplied by 10 times, it wasn't enough to face Frieza, and Kakarot knew this. Despite having the Saiyan impulse, he was able to control himself, knowing that if he went to his planet, he'd be exterminated. Even though I was born with a power that even surpasses the elite warriors, it wouldn't be sensible for me to go at this time, since I don't have the required power because that damn man called himself the Emperor of Evil. He must be powerful. Kakarot would continue training. His body was able to get into the state. Meanwhile, on the planet of Frieza, Vegeta was able to recover. However, the humiliation he received wasn't able to overcome, so no matter what, he'd start in the same way with his rigorous training.
I'm the Prince of the Saiyans. I don't care if I have that bastard, even if he's considered high class, or was able to surpass the elite. I have to be much more powerful.
Vegeta's training was hell, since every time he finished his workout, he had to recover in the recovery machine, because the damage was so much that if he healed on his own, it would take weeks. Meanwhile, returning to the Room of Time, 7 Earth days had passed, to which the God of Earth had been surprised thinking Kakarot had died in that dimension.
Apparently, Kakarot's moved far away from the entrance, and trying to find it's impossible for him, although it will be the best for planet Earth.
Inside the time room, it had been about 7 years, which Kakarot was able to master Super Saiyan state, even being able to access the Phase 2, which was his power, was complete madness. With the power I've been able to get, I'm sure I can defeat Frieza's bug, but I want to master my transformation at 100%. Kakarot would meditate in his base state to understand his full energy in his body. Also being able to clarify his ideas, Kakarot spent in meditation pose about 6 months, so at the moment he'd stand up. This moment, I have the maximum power, and I want to notice if there's any wear of energy. Kakarot would cover himself with his fists. He'd begin to expel extremely amazing power, and the whole room trembled around him. But Kakarot, without stopping, would continue to increase his power, and some rays would spread all over his body. Kakarot had access to Super Saiyan 2 maximum power. Despite having achieved all this power, I feel like my body's able to reach a new level. Kakarot would stay for another 2.5 years in the time room, but this time he'd remained in Super Saiyan 2 state and some wear and tear of energy. But while training, he was able to notice a much bigger power grew inside him. Apparently, really, I have more hidden power. I have to become more powerful. Kakarot, in the short period of time he had left, would try to access one more transformation, but he wasn't able to. Although the power he was able to release in Super Saiyan 2 left him satisfied. The power I've achieved is incredible. I'm sure with this power I'd be much more enough to end Frieza's life, but I'm sure I'll also be able to get more powerful. I want to be the Emperor of the Universe. Kakarot would return to his base state, and he'd leave the Room of Time. Even though he decreased all his power the instant he left, an incredible power would be perceived by all the warriors on planet Earth, while in the same way the whole Earth would tremble as his power would be gigantic. Wow, whose power is this? I doubt it's the power of that boy since it's only been 10 days, but the power he releases is so much it makes the Earth shake. Exactly, Master. Oh, we don't know who's responsible for all this, but I'm sure none of us would be able to cope with it. Meanwhile, in a faraway place, there was a son of the Emperor planet Earth. That's right, Piccolo, Kakarot's new rival, began to train to seek revenge on his father's murderer.
I'm sure you're the warrior who ended my father's life, so you better get ready, because no matter what I'll do, I'll end your life.
Kame-sama was surprised because of this power Kakarot's body released, so the instant he observed it, he was surprised.
But how long have you been able to get out of 10 years? No warrior stayed in that place so long.
Ha! Don't compare me with those pathetic beings on this planet. Their resistance is completely nothing compared to mine.
I'm not talking about resistance, because to endure in that place for 10 years without having any contact is crazy.
Not to any warrior, because if no one's able to achieve it, I'll be the first. But changing the subject, I want to get to a spaceship.
What, a spaceship? That's something impossible for me since all my life I've lived on this planet.
You're right, but I've got a better idea. I know you have these strange spheres, which can grant wishes. With these, your evil part was able to take over the eternal youth.
You mean the Dragon Balls? I'm afraid to tell you they can't be used right now since they're currently being recently used and its time to wait is 1 year.
I'm not interested in you being the god of Earth. If you don't want to fulfill what I ask, I'll end your life in this very place. I'm not in accordance with that. I'll eliminate all humans. I'm his protector, but he has to fulfill my wishes.
I understand, Kakarot-sama. I ask for an apology. In that case, of course, there is a way to fulfill your wish, but it's only for this occasion.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not planning on coming back for a while. Kami-sama would bring a statue of the dragon, and with a little energy, the whole sky would darken and bring out Shenron.
Tell me, what is your wish? I can only fulfill one wish.
I wish you to give me a spaceship to be able to go to Frieza's planet.
That wish is very easy.
Shenron would grant him that ship that Kakarot had requested, to which Shenron would disappear again.
I've been able to fulfill your wish. What else you want me to do right now?
Nothing for now, I appreciate it. This time I'll leave to avenge my entire race. Kakarot got in the ship and would head towards space. Meanwhile, on the planet of Vegeta, Frieza would continue with his great training, in which he'd been able to completely achieve incredible results. Since Vegeta would start to consider his high class, wasn't able to compare himself to Kakarot's level.
With the power I've been able to get, it's not enough to end Frieza's life, but I'm sure with this power I'd be able to defeat Kakarot.
On the other hand, Kakarot's ship was granted by a wish, was flying through space faster than the common ships, and because of this, Kakarot was able to reach the planet of Frieza in only 5 days, which that ship would be able to reach, but the gate was open, several warriors would surround the ship not belonging to their army.
You'd better leave this planet if you don't want to die.
But before being able to react, an energy laser was able to end that warrior's life, making him fall to the ground. An incredible aura would rise over the planet, not letting anyone move any of their bones. I'm not interested in finishing with any of you, but if you want to bring Frieza to me, I'll finish with that dam. The Emperor of Evil was not on the planet because he left with his elite warriors to Namek, in which they were going for some spheres which were capable of fulfilling wishes, and Frieza was looking for eternal life. Damn it! No matter how much power he has, that bastard, if he becomes mortal, I won't be able to do anything against him. I have to stop him. Kakarot would rise quickly to the planet's atmosphere with his ship, going to start the loading large attack in one of his hands. So this must have felt Frieza before he destroyed my planet. Ha! I plan to destroy everything he loves and then end his pathetic existence. Kakarot would throw an incredible attack towards the planet, and since there was no competent warrior, the planet of Frieza exploded into 1,000 pieces, leaving nothing which was left of the planet, while Kakarot with a great speed began to come to the planet Namek. I'm sure these guys must be of the same race of Piccolo. Damn it, if he keeps up, that's gonna be getting eternal life. After 8 hours, he would get to planet Namek, and instantly, he noticed 100 of inhabitants had been eradicated by Frieza's soldiers. I don't care if I'm done with these bastards, but I want them to be afraid of me. That good-for-nothing worm. For his part, the Emperor of Evil was holding a small child from that planet, since having gathered all the spheres, he wasn't able to fulfill his wish. Damn kid, you better help fulfill my wish, because if you don't, I'll end you and this whole planet myself. Kakarot would be able to feel the energy of Frieza, starting to approach at a great speed, but on his way, he would run into special forces, which were the most powerful warriors. Kakarot would do nothing to end their lives, so he arrived and was able to hold the little boy, throwing him hundreds of meters. I won't let you get your wish, you good-for-nothing worm. Vegeta surprised, since he was holding at the right moment to snatch the desire from Frieza because he didn't have the required power to face him.
But if he's Kakarot, how's he able to get to planet Namek? Is he stupid? How do you plan on getting to face Frieza face to face?
You better go get the kid, because otherwise I'll make you suffer in the worst way possible. I don't care who you are. I want you to try something, since I come from only for a pathetic to end your pathetic existence, you Emperor of Evil. An irritated Frieza would rush against Kakarot, and he would stop his blow with only one of his fingers, which Frieza was surprised, but Kakarot would connect a big blow to his stomach, making him vomit large amounts of blood. Are you really the Emperor of Evil? I trained all my life for nothing become your power is pathetic. Yeah, damn. That hurt me, but right now I'll use all my power since I have several transformations. Wow, if you only have several transformations, it'd be better to access the most powerful one, because if the next hit you don't transform, I'll finish you. Frieza would access his last form, and this power he released making the whole planet of Namek tremble. Vegeta would be surprised by that power, but Kakarot was nothing more than a simple breeze, because his power was greater, and after a great explosion, Frieza could be observed in his last form. Now that I see you well, you're the identical to the Saiyan who opposed the destruction of planet Vegeta. Are you his son? Worm, you dare tell me? Of course he's my father, and I'm your worst nightmare. I'm the little Saiyan who was born with more than 10,000 units of power. Frieza's look would change a little, but he would laugh again. It doesn't matter if it exceeds that units of power, because in this form my power exceeds 10 million units, so a Saiyan won't be able to face me. I don't know how much power I currently possess, but I'll face you in my base state. Frieza and Kakarot fought against each other with several blows, but in the first clash of their fists, Kakarot would realize how much power was superior to Frieza's power, because Frieza's face, the effort was observed, while Kakarot's part, he was just chill. Kakarot, with a slight blow, was able to descend into the bottom of the sea, destroying everything, since the power of his fist had been on another level.
I can't believe the Kakarot has been able to overcome Frieza. This is a nightmare.
The power is enough for me to finish you, but I want to show you your nightmare. Kakarot would instantly clench his fists, being able to make everything around him rumble. Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful like, Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.